a nice comfortable seat for yourself. And before we find stillness, just start to create some movement. And that could be anything that you like. Maybe some circles, you could take a side bend or a twist. And let's maybe reach the arms overhead. Just a couple little wigglies here. And then as you're ready to start settling the movement, just find your center here. And if it feels okay to close your eyes, do that. Relax the muscles that surround the eyes. Relax your forehead. And see if you can find a little bit of a lift up through the base of your skull and a little bit of a lowering little drop down of your jaw. Let your face relax. And just take a few moments to be here and breathe. Notice the way your body moves when you breathe. And from here, allow your chin to bow down and your eyes to blink open. We'll bring the head back to center and start with some circles, just moving the torso around in a circle. And it might feel nice to add in some movement in the shoulders and maybe turn your head to look one direction and another. But you might also prefer to keep the circles kind of small, so you decide. And then let's make our circles go the other direction. Great. And then we'll let the movement start to settle down. And those of you who are cross-legged can change the legs so you have the other one in front, which usually feels a little odd. And we'll interlace the fingers here. Press the palms forward, and at first let your back round. You'll feel the shoulder blades go wide apart. And then up come the arms. From here, let's take a side bend over to the right. So the left side gets a little stretch. And then come up and over to the left. And then let's come back to center and change the way your fingers are interlaced. So put the other thumb on top. That'll feel weird too. Again, we'll press the arms forward around through the back. And then a little different pattern here. Let's come up. Turn towards your left side, open up the arms, give the wrists a little circle as you bring the arms down into a twist. And just pause here. Stay in the position, but turn your head to look forward. And now let's take the back arm up and over on the diagonal. So you've got a little diagonal side bend. And then we'll pull on the leg to come up to center. Let's interlace again, just pick any which way around the back. Up come your arms. And then we'll twist, turning open to the right. Separate the hands. And here we are in a different version of the twist. So let's keep your arms in place. Turn the head to look forward. And then reach the back arm up and over on the diagonal. Yes. And you're ready. Pull on the leg to come back up to center. Let's unwind out of the twist. Untangle your legs, stretch the legs forward, and just move the feet around in a little circle. And we'll go the other direction. Yeah. All right, friends. So from here, we'll head down onto your back and let's have your strap handy. And at first here, laying down on your back, let's just take the right knee in towards the chest and give the leg a little squeeze. Yeah, and then back off of the leg squeeze, keep the knee bent, and just stir the right leg around a little bit. Think of movement in the ball and socket joint. Any direction of movement, any kind of movement is fine. Yeah. And then from here, we'll take the right leg over to the left side for a twist. And here too, any amount is fine. So for me, I usually don't go too far. Some of you might go all the way down to the floor. Now within your shape, on the right arm, think of reaching the elbow away from the shoulder. I know they're attached, but go just reaching out a little bit. And then bring your leg back in. And here's where we'll use the strap. So you can put the strap over the right foot and send the right leg up. Now at first, especially early in the morning, the hamstring will likely be a little tight. So let's take a few rounds just to bend and straighten the knee, going back and forth with that. And then we'll pause with the leg up and back off your max stretch. So the leg might come a little away from you here. Now use your arms to trace a circle. So the arms will draw the leg in a little circle. And then go the other direction. Yeah. Great. And then pause here. Move your pelvis in like a cat-cow. So a tuck and a tilt, or a tuck and untuck. Do that a few times. And the next time you have a little bit of space between your low back and the floor, pause there and try to keep that amount of space as you bring the right leg towards you, any amount. Yeah, notice the pelvis will really want to tuck under, but don't let it. And then you'll back off the leg stretch again. And now we'll move the strap into the right hand. Couple options here. We're taking the right leg to the right. Some of you will just do that, keeping the left leg on the floor. Some of you might prefer bending the left knee and taking the left knee to the left. So that's an option. And if you're doing the bent knee version, you could do that with the foot on the floor or pick up the leg and hold on to it. So I'll leave it up to you in terms of what the left leg is doing. On the right leg, though, notice sometimes it actually feels good to just flop all the way over there, but let's not do that for today. Come up slightly. Let's bend the right knee a little bit and think of the outer right hip on the outside, kind of wrapping down towards the left foot. And keep that idea as the leg goes straight again. Now, can you create some tone through the abdominal area? And think of bringing the left side of the waist down towards the floor. All right, let's come back up. If the left knee was bent, go ahead and stretch it out long. And we'll move the strap now into the left hand. Take your right leg a few inches over to the left, but not too far, just over the midline. And then bend the right knee. Move the right hip down away from your head and try to keep that space as you re-stretch the leg to straight on the diagonal line. And then look at your toes for a second. Spread out a little through your toes and try to draw the pinky toe towards your face and press out through the ball of the big toe a little bit. Yeah. Now your choice, you could stay right here. I am getting plenty just as is. Or you could take the leg further over, and if you do that, the hip will lift more off the floor. So you decide, but wherever you are, see if you can maintain the space on the right side of the waist, moving the hip down away from your head. Yeah. All right, and then return to center here. Let's do one more thing on the right side. Reset your hand hold so you have one hand on each side of your strap. Left leg will be long on the floor for this part. Now, just I'll explain it. If you need to watch for a second, you could watch the first round. We'll breathe in. On the exhale, press the right leg forward, round the back, and see if you can come all the way up to a seated position with the leg still elevated. And then you'll round the back to return down to the floor. So we'll take a couple of these. If you're having some trouble, you could lift the left leg for a second and then let them both come, and that'll give you a little momentum. But if you're finding this fairly easy to do, try to keep the left leg pretty still and try to go slower with the movement. That should give you a little more of a challenge. We won't be here for long. Let's just take one more on this side. I used to do these all the time and they were so easy, and it's been a while. So it's kind of a struggle. All right, and then let's release the leg out of the strap. Let's just stretch it both legs long on the floor. And notice if you can sense a difference between the right side and the left here. All right, so before we use the strap on the left side, let's just bring the knee in. Give the leg a little squeeze. And then you'll back off of the squeeze and just start to move the leg around. Think of just ball and socket mobility here. And then we'll pass the leg into the right arm and take a twist, bringing the left leg to the right. Any amount is fine. Now see if you can reach the left elbow out away from the body, and you might get a little bonus stretch in the front of the left shoulder. Yeah, you guys, bring yourself back to center. And now let's take your strap over the foot, left foot, send the leg up. Hi, and then at first, just a little hamstring stretch. You could bend and straighten the knee or take anything for a second just to open this up a little bit. And then let's pause here and back off max stretch. So let the leg come a little away from you. And then we'll start to make our circles here. You can use the arms to do the steering. And another direction we go. And then let's pause here and think about the pelvis doing a cat-cow or a tuck and untuck. Do a couple of those. And the next time you have a little gap between your low back and the floor, pause there. See if you can maintain the little gap as you use the arms to draw the leg closer to you. The leg won't go as far as it would if we were tucking the pelvis under, so that's on purpose. All right, friends. So from here, we'll back off of this, move both straps into the left hand. You decide what the right leg is gonna do. You could keep it straight, you could bend the knee, take the leg, take left leg out to the left, and if the right knee is bent, let it drop over to the right. But if the right leg is straight, do your best to keep the right hip anchored down on the floor. It's gonna wanna pop up. Now in this position, on the left leg, let's back off a little bit and think about the outer left hip wrapping down, creating a little more space on the left side waist. Keep that, re-lengthen the leg and come back to where you were. Yes. All right, so to get to the next part here, from the belly, bring yourself back up to center. Let's stretch the right leg out long and then move the strap into the right hand. And we'll take the leg over, but just a few inches at first. Take a little bend in the left knee. Move the left hip down away from your head. Create a little more space there, and then stretch the leg to straight. Have a look at your foot and spread out through the toes. Draw the pinky toe towards you and press a little outward the ball of the big toe. Yeah, and you decide if you want to just stay right here, or if you want to take the leg more over to the right side, that's your choice. Now, if you do that, the hip will lift more off the floor. Just let that happen. Everybody, can you maintain the length on the left side of the waist? You might have to draw the left hip down a couple of times. Yeah. All right, friends, we're heading back to center. Up you come. Let's, for this part, do have the right leg straight, long on the floor, and one hand on each side of the strap. Inhale. On the exhale, press the leg forward, round the back. See if you can come up to sit without too much struggle. And then round the back to return down onto the floor. Now, if you're going well with this, just keep going. If you need a boost, you could pick up the right leg and then just a little momentum to swing up. Whatever you're doing, though, try to, when you are traveling up or down, keep a rounded back. If you try to go with the flat back, it won't work very well. Now, if you need to make it harder, if this is feeling too easy for you, walk the hands higher up and start with a slight lift in the shoulders, and then try not to slide the hands when you come up to center. That should make it a little harder. Now, of course, we're almost done. This can be done with a stretchy band. I think it's a little nicer with the stretch. All right, friends. From here, next time you're down, we'll be done with this part. We'll release the strap, release the leg. Just take a second again, little check-in. You might notice a difference again on the right side versus the left. Maybe now they feel even. And then from here, we're about to move off of the back. So let's just start. You can bend up the knees, bring the knees in towards your chest, and take any sort of movement here, maybe little circles or side to side. Yeah. And then when you are ready to turn over, we'll meet hands and knees position. So you get there when you get there. And within the hands and knees, kind of like how we started sitting, just start to move yourself around any which way. So that could be some circles or side to side. We will do cat-cow in a second. All right, guys, so let's head back to child's pose. Hips towards the heels. Feel free to widen the knees if that's more comfortable for you. And without going anywhere, just try to push the mat forward with your hands, drawing the hips back and down. And then without going anywhere, still try to pull the hands towards your knees, like your hands are glued to the floor and you're trying to pull. Let's do push and pull a couple of times. So hands push forward, the hips drop back, and then hands pull towards the knees, a little bit of a lift. Do one more time the push. And then one more time the pull. This time pull so much that you come up to all fours again. Yeah. From here, we'll breathe in. On the exhale, round the back, drop the head, drop the tailbone. And then on the inhale, you'll come the other direction. Lift the head and the tail. Do that a couple more times. And as you're going along, see if you can create some mobility in the thoracic spine, the upper back. Notoriously stiff spot for a lot of us. Yeah. So from here, let's pause. We'll go to child's pose again, but this time with the toes tucked under. Stay like this, and if you can walk the knees back so the toes tuck under more, do that. And without moving your hands, press the mat forward, shift the hips back. That'll squash the toes a little bit more. And then from here, we'll come out of this. Let's walk the hands a little forward. Round up through cat pose, rounded back. Stretch the toes back. Keep coming forward. The spine will unravel. The elbows will bend, and we'll land on the belly. Yeah. Once you're here on the belly, just scooch the legs one at a time back and down to give you a little extra room in the front of the thighs. Hands will stay where they are, right by the lower ribs. Lift the shoulders away from the floor. And without moving your hands, try to pull the hands towards your feet and pull the chest forward. And you'll rise up a little bit just by default, but think more of a forward action than an up action. And lower yourself down. Let's do that again. Shoulders, front of the shoulders lift. Try to pull the mat back, pull the chest forward. If you want to also lift the legs, that's an option. And lower yourself down. Now, go a couple more times. If you're getting any sort of pinching in the lower back, don't go up so high. Maybe you're here, and you really work on that pull. If the low back is feeling fine, maybe you're up a little more. Maybe you're here. Yeah, let's have this be the last one. And then when you come down here, let's press back, child's pose again, toes tucked under. Just a quickie spider fingers perching up onto your fingertips to give the wrists a little break. And without moving your hands, try to scrunch up the mat so the wrists lift. And then we'll set the hands back down, lift the knees off the floor, and try to press the mat forward, sending your hips back away from the hands. Slowly, slowly start to lengthen out the legs. We're heading to down dog, but it'll likely still be a little tight in the legs. In that case, it might feel good to pedal. You can bend and straighten the knees and or shift your hips back and forth, maybe turn your head side to side. Yeah, I'm getting all sorts of creakies. I don't know if you can hear that. And then let's pause the movement and separate your feet about as wide as the mat. Bend both knees and walk your hands back. Just heading to the back, I'm going to turn around. And prop up so your forearms are on the thighs. You're in this squat sort of position. Move the inner groins back and move the chest forward so the torso becomes a little bit longer. Root down through the soles of the feet. Use the inhale to rise. Arms come up overhead, legs straighten. And we'll release the arms. And guess what we're going to do? Another random yogi's choice moment. So bend the knees a little bit to slither asana. So you can move the shoulders, you can move the neck, the head. Just maybe create a little twist. Good. All right, and then we'll let the movement settle down. Let's reset your stance. So the feet are just right underneath you. We'll stay at the back of the mat. Root down through the legs. Use the inhale to lift. Arms come up overhead. On the exhale, down we go for forward fold, possibly bending your knees. Come up halfway, move the chest forward. Lower down and do bend the knees. Press into the feet. Inhale all the way up again. Arms lift overhead. Exhale all the way back down. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Chest moves forward. Down we come, little bend in the knees. Press through the feet. Inhale all the way up, arms lift. This time we'll change the pattern. All the way down, forward fold. Halfway up, lengthen. Now this time when you come down, let's walk the hands forward until you get to plank. The heels will peel up off the floor. Now we will stay here for a bit. If you need to do something instead of plank, you could put the knees down or go to all fours. From your position here, can you broaden the collarbones, clear the shoulders? At the same time, can you zip up, lift through the lowest part of the belly? And if you're on straight legs, bend the knees just a little and try to draw the knees forward towards the top of the mat. And that should help engage the lowest part of the belly. Yeah. Then to get out of this, we'll put the knees down lightly, come all the way down to the belly. Let's give a little wrist break. So stretch the arms back. Palms facing up, bend the fingers, so making a little fist, and then bend at the wrist, so the wrist goes towards the floor, the fingers go towards the ceiling. And then open that up, wiggle the fingers. Do 2 more of those. So you bend and lift, and release, and then bend and lift, and release, little wiggle. Stay on the belly, move the front of the shoulders away from the floor like we did on the other one. Keep that engagement through the upper back. Lift the arms and maybe lift the legs. Again, though, think of growing longer rather than going up so much higher here. Yeah. All right, let's come down and we'll do a quad stretch. So you'll bend the right knee and hold onto the foot or the ankle. Now, if either your quads are really tight or if you have short arms, another option for that, you roll to the side, bring the knee in, hold the foot, and then send the knee back, either staying on the side or then rolling to the belly from there. All right, and then we'll change to side two. Now, within your position, can you draw the knee towards the back of the mat, but also draw the navel towards the front of the mat? And that should give you a little, just a little more of a stretch. Just release your leg, just wiggle a little bit, hips shift from side to side. And from here, we'll head into downward facing dog. Go ahead and just get there, and we'll take a little adjustment once you're in the position. Yeah, so from your downward dog, bend the knees a little bit. Keep them bent. Try to press the mat forward. Send the hips back. Grow longer through the torso. Keep the length, and then in slow motion, start to go straighter in the legs. And notice if there's a spot where you start to shift forward almost towards plank. Resist that, and or possibly keep the knees bent so that you can maintain the length. All right, yogis. This time, let's come to the front of the mat. You can get there any way you wish, feet to the hands. Root down through the feet. Inhale, all the way up we come. Arms lift overhead. Release the arms. And then stay at the front of the mat. Take your feet just right underneath you in hula hoop asana, making a little circle here. Yeah, other direction. I'm a big fan of these little wigglies in between this stuff, so I do that just about every class. Let's pause here at the front of the mat. Bring the arms up overhead. Hold on to the left forearm. Pull up, and then side bend over to the right. Yeah, and then up, change sides, pull up, and over to the left we go. And center, release the arms, and just do a little in and out shoulder rotation a couple of times. Yeah. Now for our next sequence, we'll do some lunges with the back knee up, but if you need blocks for under your hands, go ahead and set them up. And if you don't, I'll show you what you can do if you wish you had them. All right, so here we are in mountain pose at the front of the mat. Let's keep feet a little bit apart for this one. Bend your knees and bring the hips back, coming into an Utkatasana. Let's have the hands in prayer. Now, without moving your legs anywhere, at the tops of the thighs, press apart. And if you do that, you can see the knees go wider. Then we'll counter that action in the feet. Hug in through the ankles and press down through the base of the big toe, the ball of the big toe. Yeah. And then continue to press out through the upper thighs. Sink a little deeper if you're able to. Breathe in. On the exhale, forward fold, lift the hips, drop your body. Take a halfway lift, moving the chest forward. And then from here, yogis, we'll come down and step the right leg back for lunge. Now, if reaching the floor is a challenge for you, or if you feel like you're really rounded, option, you could take one forearm up to the thigh, or you could bring your hands up to the shin. Yeah. Now, from this position, wherever you are, can you draw back through the pelvis, forward through the chest? Try to take the rounding out of the back. Firm up through the abdominal area. And then if you're able to let go of the floor, maybe you just lighten up the hands, maybe you stretch the arms back. The torso is still on this diagonal trajectory. And then some of you might stretch the arms forward. Up to you. We'll hold your position wherever you are. Let's take one more breath in. And then on the exhale, release the arms and take a few rounds just to bend and straighten the front knee, just to let go of some of that work. And then we'll pause the next time the knee is bent, lengthen the torso again, and let's turn to the left for a twist. Option here, you can put the hand to the hip, you could raise the left arm up to the ceiling, or you could take it overhead for like a more of a diagonal line. So whatever of those you like is fine. Yeah, let's look down towards the floor, release the position. And we'll head into downward facing dog here. So go ahead and just make your way in there, downward dog. Now a few options here. You could stay in down dog the whole time, or you could put the knees down and stay in child's pose if you need a little rest. If you want a little more work, we'll shift forward to plank. That's inhale. And then exhale, go back to downward dog. And just take that a few more times. Dog, plank, dog. That's it. And then let's everybody meet in downward facing dog. From your downward dog, we'll come to the top of the mat. You could walk there, you could step there, you could jump there if you wanted to, feet to the hands. We'll stay in the low down position. Just take a halfway lift, moving the chest forward. Come down, bend the knees a little bit. Let's do again, halfway lift. This time when you come down, bring the left leg back, setting up for your lunge. Hands on something. Hands on something. Can you draw the pelvis back, the chest forward? Try to take any rounding out of your back. And then press down a little more into the right heel. Lighten up the arms if you're able to, and a few possibilities. You could stretch the arms back. You could stretch the arms forward on the diagonal. Wherever you are, we'll hold for a little bit. Can you keep the legs really solid and keep engagement through the abdominal region? Yeah. Let's take just one more breath in. On the exhale, release the arms and take a few rounds to bend and straighten the front leg. That's it. We'll pause with the knee bent, adding in a twist if you wish, turning to the right, hand to the hip, arm to the ceiling, arm overhead. Any of those are fair game. And then from here, let's look to the floor, release the arm. Take a few rounds more, either dog, plank, dog, holding child. You could hold plank too if you wanted to. Now this transition will be a little different than what we did last time. Let's shift forward to plank. Come on down to the belly. And then let's set up in this sort of position where the forearms are on the floor, but the elbows are a little ahead of the shoulders. So if you're familiar with Sphinx pose, it's similar, but not exactly the same. Then from here, let yourself just drop down for a second. Just below the navel, above the pubic bone, lift that part of the belly. Press the forearms into the floor and try to pull the arms back as you pull the chest forward. So you'll rise up a little bit and then let it go. Let's do that again. So just below the navel lifts. Press into the floor with your arms and try to pull the arms back as you pull the chest forward, lifting up a little more. And down. Last one we're going to add on. So we lift up just below the navel, press and pull back. You could stay here or just keep doing this like we've been doing. If you want to add on, change the pull in the arms to a push, go up onto the knees, and here we are, it's kind of a rounded halfway forearm plank. And then if you're with me here on the knees and you still want to add on, tuck the toes under and go onto straight legs. Keep a little push happening in the forearms, and just below the navel, maintain that lift. And it's okay for this version of the pose if you're a little more rounded than you normally would be. Yeah. And then to get out, let's lower the knees down, come all the way to the belly. Rearrange your hands so that you could just fold, make a little pillow for your forehead. And then take a wiggle, just a little hip side to side. If you wanted to do a windshield wiper, you could bend the knees and swish the legs side to side. They're similar. All right, guys. From here, we'll put the legs back down, head into down dog, and let's, when you get there, take the feet wide, about as wide as your mat. And then we'll add on, bend the knees without moving your hands. Press forward, send the hips back, elongate through the sides of the waist. Keep the length as the legs start to go straighter, and they might not go completely straight. Yeah. Now your choice, either feet to the hands or hands to the feet or a little bit of each. We'll meet in a forward fold. Root down through the feet, use the inhale to lift, arms come up overhead. And release the arms. Yeah, All right, let's do another hula hoop just to celebrate. Getting up again. Other direction. Yeah, you guys. So next we'll take Warrior Two side angle with a few variations. And let's start just standing in the middle of your mat on the long side of the mats in front of you. And you'll take your feet out wide. We'll go this direction first. So turn the right leg in, turn the left leg out, hands to the hips. Let me move that out of your way. And then you'll bend the left knee, but lift the heel slightly. Yeah, so bend the knee. And then put the heel down and go straight in the leg. Do that a few times. So when the knee bends, the heel is lifted. And then you'll put the heel down to go straight again. Let's do one more time that full cycle. And then on this last one here, stay with the knee bent and then press the heel down into the floor and give it like a little extra press. Notice how the pelvis is going on a little bit of a diagonal here. That's fine. Leave the pelvis alone. Square up the shoulders so they're parallel to the long end of your mat, and let's take the arms out wide. You can turn to look over the left hand, or you could just stay looking straight ahead, whatever feels more comfortable on your neck. Yeah, now here we'll add on a little bit. Let's turn the palms up. Press down into the left heel to straighten the leg and lift the arms. Let's do this on the inhale. And then on the exhale, re-bend the knee, take the arms wide. Do that a couple of times. And every time you come back down, take just a little glance at the knee. And if it's knocking in, make a little adjustment so the knee tracks straight ahead. We don't want it to knock in here. Yeah. All right, next time we're in Warrior Two with the arms out wide. Let's pause. We'll change our pattern a little bit. Shift forward, turn the left palm up. Inhale, straighten the leg again and lift the arm. And then on the exhale, you'll bend the knee, bring the forearm on the thigh, and take the right arm over. So that's our new pattern. Inhaling up and exhaling into side angle. Still to make sure the knee is tracking properly. Good, good, good. So the next time you come down, we'll hold side angle and we'll make a little adjustment with the top arm. Let's bend the elbow and have the arm just kind of in line with the upper part of the torso. And then in this line, you'll send the arm like a laser. Make it really, really sharp movement, sharp angle. And then on the bottom arm, notice if you're just kind of taking a nap here, can you press into the forearm, lift out of that? On both legs here, press into the heels. We'll come all the way up on an inhale, and then we'll change to side two. So the left leg will turn in, the right leg will turn out. Hands to the hips at first, and then take a little lift in the heel as you bend the knee. Put the heel down and straighten the leg. Do that a few times. Make like a little circuit here. Great. Next time the knee bends, let's stay like that. Put the heel down and give a little extra pressure down into the heel. Already though, make sure the knee is tracking forward. Don't let it knock in. Square up the chest, the shoulders towards the long end of the mat. You can take the arms wide. Gaze can be straight ahead or over the right hand, your choice. Then from here, let's turn the palms up. Inhale, straighten both legs, lift arms overhead. And on the exhale, re-bend the right knee and just a little glance. Make sure it's not knocking in. A couple more of those. All right, friends, let's meet in Warrior Two. Next time the knee's bent and the arms are wide. Changing our pattern, shift forward, turn the palm up, straighten the leg and lift the arm. And then bend the knee, forearm to thigh, left arm comes overhead. Do that a few times. So the inhale is up and the exhale is down, and possibly your breath will be different than mine. So go at your own pace. And then this will be our last up and down, and we'll meet in side angle pose. Forearm on the thigh. Stay there. Let's readjust the top arm, bend the elbow. Before we do the laser shot, let's turn the ribs away from the floor. And then when you're ready, out goes the left arm. Nice sharp line there. Keep that on the top arm, and then on the bottom arm, press down the forearm into the thigh. Stay in your position, and in both feet, can you press down a little more into the heels, a little less into the toes? Oh yeah, you guys. All right, friends, on the next inhale, let's come up. Parallel your feet. Come together for a second, feet just underneath you. Yeah. And then after all of that time with legs apart, let's do this. Stand with your feet a little wider than you normally stand. Do a slight internal rotation, little pigeon toe. And then the knees bend, the hips come back. Just rest the forearms on the thighs. Right at the very tops of the thigh bones, press apart. You'll feel that puts the weight on the pinky side of the foot. Hug in through your ankles so the weight's more even on your feet, but keep pressing the thighs apart. Yeah, and then parallel your feet, toes point straight ahead. Inhale, we're up with the arms. And exhale, the arms down just beside you. And next we'll take a wide-legged forward fold. If you need blocks for your hands or any sort of prop furniture, just arrange that for yourself. Legs go out nice and wide, maybe slightly less wide than you had them in those other poses. And make sure your toes are pointing straight ahead for this one. We don't want to let them turn out. Bend the knees a little bit, just barely at all. And at the hip crease, we'll hinge forward to come down. Let's land your hands on something, your flat hands, fingertips, or a prop. And before we straighten out the legs, at the tops of the thighs, press out like we did in some of the other poses. Guess what we're going to do? Hug in a little through your ankles, press down the ball of the big toe. Slowly start to lift the hips, go straighter in your legs. And then from here, let's walk the arms forward. Not the hips, just the arms. So it's kind of like down dog in the upper body. And if you can go on your fingertips, do that. Yeah, just create as much length as you can on both sides of your waist. And then from here, you'll back off of max reach. So come in a little bit. Walk the arms towards the right. And how far you go doesn't matter. Just a little or a lot, up to you. Bend the left knee and let the pelvis shift back. And I'm hoping you'll get a nice stretch on the right inner thigh here. Yeah. And then come back to center, walk hands towards the left. You choose the distance. Bend the right knee, shift the pelvis back. And then undo, coming to center. Reset your hands to the right underneath you. Heel to the feet in a little bit, but stay still fairly wide. And then from here, before you come up, little bend in the knees. Press wide through the upper thighs. Tone up through your core. Hands to the hips and come up with a flat back. Just come straight up. Yeah, all right. And then step the feet right underneath you. Good. So we'll do hula hoop again in a second. And let's bend the knees for this one and let there be a little extra movement in the ankles and the feet. It's almost like you're doing a little dance. You could, yeah, go the other direction. Okay. Next, we're heading into our balance. We'll do tree pose. So just stand where you're standing. Hands to the hips, go onto the right big toe, just the tip of the toe. And without the pelvis turning, let the leg open out. So the knee goes to the side. You can stay here with the toe on the floor if balance is iffy, or you could connect the foot low on the leg. You could go high on the leg. Don't go on the knee, even though there's that like perfect foot size little notch there. Don't go on the knee, above or below. All right, friends. Once you're in position here, the standing foot, left foot, press it firmly down into the floor. And as that's happening, think of the outer left hip drawing in towards the midline. Let's take the hands to prayer. Now, if this is going well and you want extra, stretch the arms up. If you still want extra, go a little wider in the arms. Maybe lift the chest, maybe lift the gaze up. Yeah, changing where our vision is pointed in balance can add a little extra just up the ante. And then coming out of that, let's release the pose and try not to fidget, just stand. You can release the arms, you could close the eyes even. Take a breath. Yeah. Alrighty, let the eyes open, hands come back to the hips. Go at first just to the left big toe and find that opening of the leg without the pelvis coming with. So if you go too far, everything's gonna turn, just the leg. From here, you either stay down or come up, just not on the knee. And then once you've got it, press the right foot down. Let the outer right hip draw in towards the midline. Hands come to heart center. If you like, you can lift the arms. And if you still want to add on, take the arms a little wider. Let the chest lift and start to turn your gaze upward. Very joyful. Okay, and then release, stand. Try not to fidget, maybe close the eyes, just take a breath. Yeah. All right, and then open the eyes. We're gonna do it again, but this time we'll have a little bit, it'll be a little more fun. I call it wiggly tree. So you'll stand on the left leg, pick up the right leg, but instead of tree pose, just wobble around a little bit. Oh, I just knocked the block over, yeah. So anything is fine, any kind of movement. And then you're gonna freeze and hold whatever awkward position you've just landed in. Yeah. And then go one more time on the same side. Whoa, freeze. Uh-oh. And now from here, can you make your way back into tree pose? You can use your hands to help. We won't stay for too long, just pause. Yeah. And then release. For some of us, if we do the wobbly one and then come back in a tree, the balance ends up a little bit easier. So let's try it on side two. Right leg is down, left leg is up, and then just go for it. This one is so much more fun if you're in like a really big group of people. I don't know when the next time that'll be is, but here we are. And then let's freeze. Don't hold your breath. Go again, go again. And freeze. Now from here, if you can make your way to tree pose, do so. Even if you have to use your hands a little bit. And then we won't stay long, just pause for a moment. Yeah, yogis. All right, that's that. Release, release, just stand. Nice work, friends. So we'll head down to the floor. Let's take a little kind of a half sequence to get there. So head to the front of the mat, root down through the legs. Inhale, we're up, arms overhead. Exhale, down we go, forward fold. And come up halfway, stretch out the chest. And then down we go, hands to the floor. Let's head into plank pose. We will be here for a little bit. Can you broaden the collarbones? Can you lift, zip up right through the lowest part of the belly? Yeah. And then when you're ready to get out of this, let's put the knees down. Go back to child's pose for a second. And then we'll come upright to sit. Swing the legs around forward, legs just in front of you. And we'll start in Dandasana, which is just legs forward, seated staff pose. Now, if you find that you are rocking back or it's really, really challenging to sit upright, try sitting on something, a little cushion or a blanket, just to elevate the hips, and that should help. Now, let's have the hands behind you. Press the fingertips down, press the inner heels forward, and just sit up really, really tall. Now, if you need the hands for the support, keep them down, but if you're able to lift the arms and maintain the length in the spine, do so. Yeah, you could pretend somebody is pulling on your fingertips, just giving a little assistance here. Yeah. And then we won't do many of these, just a few. Let's take the arms forward, round the back, do round the back now, and go about halfway down to the floor, and we'll just hold that position. Yeah. Now, if you want to add on, don't twist, but take the right arm wide and center. And then the left side wide and center. Now the right arm up. Oh, that's harder. And then center. And the left arm up and center. And that was it. Come back up to sit. Just relax for a second. Yeah. All right, so we'll take a twist, and I'll show a couple different ways it can be done. Let's bend up the right knee, plant the sole of the foot on the floor. Now, if you're doing this version, just keep a little space between the foot and the leg. If it feels okay to do this other version, you'll take the leg, cross it over the midline slightly, the straight leg, and then cross the right foot over the left thigh. Now the criteria for this one, we want the sole of the foot to meet the floor and both sitting bones to contact the floor or your blanket, your cushion. If that's not the case, stick with this one. Yeah. So from your position here, let's take the back hand, the left hand, and just press it down into the floor to give you a little boost, little lift. And then take the right arm inside of the right leg, press arm and leg into each other. So open face twist here. Now feel free to stay with this one, or if you want to do the closed twist, you'll back off, go the other direction. Now it's the right hand that presses down, sit up tall, and then you might be able to hook, if you're doing this one, actually it's a little easier, the elbow outside of the thigh, or you might just keep the hand on the knee, on the shin. Yeah, you guys. All right, let's undo, stretch the leg out, jiggle it out a little bit. And then for side two, bending up the left knee, you choose if you're doing this one or this one, or going this way first to the right. So take the right hand behind you, press down to lift up. Take the left arm inside of the leg and press as we open. And then if you wish to stick with this one, go ahead and do. If you're taking the other one, you'll undo, change hands, and then change directions, possibly hooking the elbow outside of the thigh. If not, just hold on. Yeah. All right, friends, let's undo. Stretch both legs out long. Just give them both a little Baba Baba Basana. And then we'll start to make our way down. So let's meet on the back with the knees bent, the feet on the floor. We'll do a few more twists here. So take the feet about as wide as the mat, arms or anywhere you want them. Let the knees drop to the right. And then let the knees drop to the left. Yeah. So option, you could keep doing that back and forth. You could stay on one side and just enjoy the stretch a little bit longer. If there's a different version of this that you prefer, come into that. Yeah. And you make sure that you feel even between the two sides before you come back to center. So whenever that is, we'll meet with the feet on the floor and not quite as wide as you just had. Hands will come to the thighs at right around the hip crease. And you'll breathe in. On the exhale, just press straight ahead, hands into the legs. And then on the inhale, you'll back off from that. So do that a couple of times. Exhale, a little pressure. And inhale to back off. Yeah. All right, friends. So we're heading into Shavasana, our final resting pose. You could set up any way you like. The traditional is just laying down, but for some folks that doesn't feel good on the knees or the back. If you want to have the knees bent, you could let the feet go wide and the knees drop in. You could roll onto your side or onto your belly. So just take the shape that you like the best and we'll rest. Yeah. So for many of us, this is the hardest part, believe it or not. Just see if you can let your body and your brain absorb your yoga practice and just let it sit, let it settle. Can you relax? Relax your face. Relax all of the muscles that are used to move the eyes around. And the little space that's right in between the eyebrows, relax that too. Let go of any holding around the jaw and the tongue. Relax the muscles at the base of the skull, back of the head, and the little spot right behind your ears. Let go of any holding or gripping around the chest, around the belly. And begin to deepen your breath. And start to move a little bit. Your fingers, your toes. You can turn your head from side to side if that feels good. Whenever you're ready, allow your knees to bend. Roll over to one side. And use your hands to press down to come upright. Back to sit, no rush. We'll meet with hands at heart center. And thank your own body for everything that it's able to do. And thank yourself for being here. Namaste.